Hello everyone! Today we're going to answer a question by Sofia. The question is around sforzati, forzati, forzatissimo, specifically one that appears in Schubert's Unfinished Symphony and one that appears in Beethoven's First Symphony, the first movement. We've seen in other videos how the sforzato can be obtained with a quick side gesture, with a quick rebound, but not all sforzatos are created equally. So today we're going to take these two examples from Schubert and Beethoven and look at their differences. Hello everyone, I'm Gianmaria Griglio, I'm a conductor and a composer, and I welcome you to Conducting Pills. If you're new to the channel, this channel is all about classical music, conducting and conducting technique in particular. If you have any suggestions, please leave them down here in the comment section, and without further ado, now let's get going. Let's take a look at Schubert excerpt as a first thing. Now, what is the score telling us? First of all, this is not a sforzato, but it is a forzato, actually, forzatissimo. What is the difference? While a forzato, or forzatissimo, forces you to move away from the dynamic you were into, so if you were in piano, in pianissimo, all of a sudden you are in forte fortissimo. A sforzato, on the other hand, remains in the dynamic area that you're in. So if you're in piano, it's still, the sforzato is still within the piano dynamic. If you're in mezzoforte, the sforzato is still within the mezzoforte dynamic, and so forth. Otherwise, it really gets out of the picture. Then you add too much strength, and the balance, the dynamic balance of the phrase is gone. Having said that, in this particular excerpt from Schubert, we have other things to consider. We are coming from a decrescendo, then a bar of silence, and then it's a forte fortissimo, improviso, with a forzato, and then a diminuendo to the next bar. Now, what is your interpretation of this? Because this is going to affect the gesture that you use in this. Do you think that this should have a really strong accent and then come out of it right away? Or do you think that it should have more depth of sound and then come out more gradually? The same concept applies to the following crescendo, where you have repeated forzatos in the winds, and then a general crescendo for everybody, and then until you reach the climax, and then a diminuendo. Let's see a couple of options for the first forzatissimo. Writing from a few bars before, you have and then nothing. Bar of silence. Do not conduct anything in the bar of silence. There's no need to do 1, 2, 3 or to beat anything. Just stand still, give an upbeat for the forzatissimo, and that will save the surprise. Stop. Piram, piram, pirarira. This version adds weight to the sound, which is giving the orchestration really grounded in the lower register. It moves the arms away from your body, and then that gives you a chance to do the diminuendo. If you look at it on the side, it becomes ti-ra-ri-ram, stop, then give a clear upbeat on the third beat of the bar for letter B, click, 1, out and then in, out and then in, out, diminuendo. This would not necessarily create a strong accent directly. The result of this is weight on the strings and then the diminuendo. If you really wanted an accent on this, now this is a different type of interpretation. You could use a side gesture and have something like ti-ra-ri-ra, silence, backwards towards you and then down. Ti-ra-ri-ra, pi. And then you can use your left hand, for instance, to make the diminuendo if you wanted. Ti-ra-ri-ra, pi-ram, pi-ram. This is a combination. However, you need to be careful because this type of gesture will create a very strong accent. So if that's what you want, that's okay. But be mindful of keeping the weight of the sound. Moving on, we have a crescendo. The forzati on each beat of the bar for the woodwinds, where there are no forzati in the strings. Again, this comes to your personal choice in terms of interpretation. Remember that technique is a tool. It's a means to an end. Its only scope is to allow you to express your personal interpretation, your view of the piece. So let's say that in the crescendo, during the crescendo, I don't want these forzati in the woodwinds to be too harsh and too pounding. What do? You focus on the crescendo itself. Boom, arrival. If, on the other hand, you really want those forzati to have more weight and to be more prominent in this phrase, then you can actually focus on the forzati in the woodwinds. Pam pam pim 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 pam 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 pam, and so forth. What happens in this case? What is your gesture in this case? Well, actually, you can have different variants of it, but you can choose to do one, arrival. So you can use the side gesture to do this, but you also need to take into account the crescendo. So each side gesture should become bigger and bigger until you get to the arrival. You can also use a half circle if you wish. Pam 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 pim 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 pam 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 pim 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 and so forth. This way you can solve the problems with the forzati. You can decide what to focus on, and you can also switch, because if you feel that the strings need more attention, then you'll have the tools to go to the strings and just do the crescendo. But if you feel that the woodwinds and brass need more attention because you really want to focus on those forzati and make sure that they get it the way you want them, then you have the means and the tools to go and make sure that that happens. Now let's switch to Beethoven. Sophia's question revolves around the sforzati that you find in the second theme. Now these are not forzati, these are sforzati. The dynamic is piano. All the sforzati remain within that dynamic. Also, these are on, for the woodwinds, on the offbeat. So since you're in two, you can't exactly do you could, but that really becomes awkward and it becomes really overconducted. All you need here is to do a little bit more weight to the pulse. The only thing that I'm doing is to make the pulse where the forzato is, or before the beat where the forzato is, a little stronger. This is pretty much enough to obtain the effect that you want within this dynamic. There is a little passage at the end of the exposition that also has sforzati on the weak beat of the bar. Specifically, in this case, it's on the fourth beat. The concept remains the same. In this case, the second pulse of the bar is stronger than the first of the following bar. Until you get to the resolution, of course. What this means when you break it down is that you are doing 1, 2, 2 is stronger, and then the one after that needs to be lighter. Pam, pari, pari. So put a strong pulse on the second beat of the bar, pari, and then lighten up. Pari, pam, pim, until you arrive to the end of the excerpt. Thank you, Sofia, for bringing this up, as it gave me the opportunity of creating this video explaining the difference between forzato and sforzato and different ways of tackling it. To know more about dynamics, pulse, different types of forzato and sforzato, head over to my website where you can find a lot of different articles on conducting and conducting technique. Thank you for watching. If you have any comments or suggestions, just leave them down here, and I will see you in the next episode of Conducting Pills. In the meantime, please enjoy music, enjoy conducting, and be kind to yourself.